A big welcome to all of you. All of you who are a few of you are probably part of the Couples and Money family, but there are also many of you who are joining for the first time. And it's a joy to wherever you're from across the world. That's the beauty of technology, which is one of the things that has really helped us as Couples and Money reach many couples. We've probably had now over 600 couples go through this program and experience some real transformation. And so we're excited about tonight, and we are hoping that it will be the start of many journeys and many new stories and testimonies of just amazing transformation. So my name, as you've heard, is Mureithi, and my beautiful wife here, I'll let her speak for herself.
Yeah. My name is Carol Wanjao. We have been married now for 30 years. We've got 3 children, and we are really passionate about couples and the way that they manage their wealth together.
Awesome. So we're going to dive right into it. Just because of time, we want to honor and respect your time and try and make sure that we say everything we need to do in the short time we have this evening. First of all, today what we want to talk about is how some of your financial decisions keep you poor. And this is something that we found to be common across many couples in many cultures. We've actually had people take Couples and Money in many different countries, not just in Africa, but outside the continent as well. And so it's great to interesting to just see some of these things in common, regardless of culture or background. So maybe what we will start with is just very briefly talk about why couples struggle to work together, because there are decisions we make as couples that keep us poor. But there are some reasons why those things happen. And one of the reasons is because it's very hard for a couple to work together. That's one of the reasons we end up being poor, because we don't know how to bring our strengths together. And so we're going to talk about this evening about why couples struggle to work together. We're going to start there. And then we're just going to talk about, some of the things that you can do to ensure that those things do not keep you poor.
Yeah. So why couples struggle to work together? The first one has to do with upbringing. The thing is that every family is different. In some families, they're very open. They have very open conversations about money. Others are very secretive. It was interesting to hear for Washuka, they believed in budgeting and watching every penny, whereas for John, for them, they believed in spending the money so that it can get used to you, something like that. And so because of having just very different upbringing, then it becomes very difficult to have money conversations. Indeed, there are some families where husbands are taught, don't talk to your wife about money, where women are taught, have a secret account. And then there are also some families where they have where they have a huge financial responsibility in their family of origin, where even as you're getting married, someone, just has to pay for the younger siblings, has to pay for their parents. And, so there's just so much happening when a couple is coming together from their family of backgrounds. And this makes money conversations very difficult.
Yep. So upbringing is one of them. And it's interesting because we do talk about that in Couples and Money. It's such an important topic. But another reason that couples really struggle and it keeps them from working at optimum is personalities. The fact that we are different personalities. You had the couple that was speaking today just talk about some of their personality differences. We find that many of us, and if you think about your marriage, honestly, you'll be able to realize there are some people who are naturally hoarders. There are others who are naturally spenders. Then others who are naturally avoiders. And avoiders are the ones who are like, they don't even want to know about money. They just actually, it's just not a topic they want to involve themselves in. And the problem is that opposites attract. Usually you're going to find within the couple that one of you is inclined one way, another one is inclined the opposite way. And it can be so threatening. It can be very frustrating, and it can make it extremely hard to work together. And those are some of the things we encounter when we find couples at Couples and Money. Is like we're coming from such different personality backgrounds.
Yeah, I think as we've been talking, it would be good if you could just put on the chat who is the hoarder and who is the spender. Just right there, who is the spender, who is the hoarder?
So what are you going to do?
Just put it on the chat so that we can see.
So you can do wife W.
Yeah, wife W,
just W for
for
wife.
wife, and H for husband, so that we can know who is who. And it will be very interesting as even we look at the charts to just see how opposites attract. So the third reason is the past. Why is it that couples find it very difficult? And sometimes that couple might have experienced past hurt and betrayal. It's possible that you trusted your spouse and that landed you into trouble, or you saw this happening in your parents' home and it left one parent destitute. Maybe there was a betrayal and maybe your father was left destitute or your mother was left destitute, and you're like, when it comes to money, it is best that we don't work together. So that's a third reason why.
Wow. So past hearts. And I thank you for writing. I can see, you can actually see, if you look in the charts, you'll actually see those opposites. The hoarder, the avoider, the hoarder, the spender. It's just amazing how God puts such opposites together. Just calls for a lot of fireworks and just exciting times for a couple. Not exciting in a good way many times. So apart from the past, another one that causes us to struggle, and this is it's such an interesting one because it's intrinsic in all of us, and that is human sin. Human sin. We're just, it's so interesting. When you get married, you're in that place where your eyes are so dreamy-eyed. And I don't know, we should have even asked how many couples here are like recently married.
Yeah.
When you're recently married, you're so dreamy-eyed. I mean, it's interesting because you call the other person angel, but the reality is that, angels don't get married. You typically don't marry an angel. You marry another human being, and that human being is a sinner, you know? And the reality is many of our challenges come because I'm trying to get my own way. And if you think back to for those of you who've been married a little longer, you look back to many of the problems in your marriage come from the fact that this spouse wants that one to change. Oh, thank you. I can see a recently married person here. Awesome. I'm so glad, by the way, that you're in this course. You're going to learn a lot that's going to really help you. Because, sometimes you're like, you don't even know you're trying to change the other person. And yet you get into a space where you were happily married one day, and then the other day you realize, I don't like this about this person. So you're in that place where two sinners are trying to both force their way on the other. And let me just tell you, it's basically selfishness, and it can destroy a marriage. Because my way always seems like the right way, and your way always seems like the wrong way. And for those of you who've been married long enough, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because there's that place we call drama stage. And that's basically what's going on in that phase. And that can make it really hard to work with money.
Yeah. And then the fifth reason is purpose, a lack of a common money purpose. It was so interesting to just hear again, John and Washuka just saying they did not have a common vision. They did not have a common purpose, money purpose. And so there is nothing that they were working towards. Amos 3:3 says, how can two walk together unless they are agreed? And if you don't know where you're going, then any road is going to get you there. So one of you might be, someone who's asking the question, what is our past? What is our vision? What is our 5-year plan? When we got married, I asked you what our 5-year plan was. And if you haven't agreed on a plan, believe you me, life is going to get very complicated as you try to work together, because one person will simply not see what it is that you're saying about having a vision. So I think we have talked about 5 reasons, and I'll just mention them quickly, and I want you just to say which one is currently plaguing you.
Or have you noticed?
Is it upbringing? Is it personality? Is it the past? Is it sin? Or is it purpose? Which one is it that you identified with? Personally, I think I would have identified, with upbringing. We were brought up very differently. And even personality, oh my goodness. I think our upbringing was a fast and feast. So we feasted, but we also fasted. But we didn't seem to have a purpose, really.
It's all of them.
It was so yeah, so just right. Which one? Is it upbringing? Is it personality? Is it the past where there was betrayal, maybe in your parents' home? Is it sin where you're like, oh my goodness,
Trying to change each other.
trying to change each other, or is it lack of a common purpose?
Wow. And it's great to see the self-awareness in the couples as you're writing, because I guess part of self-awareness is when you move beyond that place where you don't know what's happening and you're open with yourself enough to say, you know what, this has caused us problems. For those of you who are newly married, you don't even know what we're talking about. I'm so happy for you. But I think it's good to take the notes because the time will come when this will really be valuable. And by the way, I really applaud you for even being in this learning space because a lot of people learn when it's late and they're having to undo mistakes. And it's so good when you start when you're just married. So congratulations to all the newlyweds in the group as well. So the thing about you want to understand as we talk about these landmines, financial incompatibility, it's such a crazy thing because what we found, and we've been doing marriage, we've done marriage ministry for 30 years now, pretty much since we got married, I'll say. And worked with not even hundreds, probably in the thousands now of couples. And the interesting thing is we find that even after people have a foundation in their marriage, financial incompatibility is one of the leading causes of divorce today, not only in Kenya, but globally. And not knowing how to manage money together, not knowing how to build wealth together, not knowing how to marry your money, as somebody said earlier. Even in good marriages, we find that this issue can become one of those painful spaces that we just don't discuss or we just don't get too deep in. But the problem is when we do that, we don't understand that there are powerful forces that are unleashed when a couple begins to understand how to work financially together. And today we want to talk about why it's critical for you to work well together. We believe that when you learn how to work as a team when it comes to your money, you will overcome all those things we've talked about, the things that will conspire to keep you poor, and the things that will conspire to keep you with a poor marriage as well. And so we're going to start with just a great scripture that's Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 to 12. Maybe you could just read it for us, Carol.
Yeah, it says that two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of three strands is not quickly broken.
So that's Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 to 12. And it talks about I'll put it over there in the chat. It talks about several things that I think are very important for you to understand happen when you come together. And by the way, when you hear this, you'll understand why we're so passionate about couples and money and why we're so excited to see so many of you interested. Why we're excited to see even pastors getting interested in this, because one of the things we realize is, shepherds are so important. If the shepherds know where to find the food, their people will also be well fed. And so we're so excited to see, and we've seen this being such a blessing to even pastors who've done the course and then now being able to go and teach it to their people or being able to introduce their people and facilitate them in this conversation. So there are 5 benefits of working together financially that are in this passage. And the first one is more profit. The scripture says 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. Now, the word return really is the word profit. It really means they're profitable. Your marriage is profitable when you work together. That's business language, but basically. And why is there more return? Because of something called the law of synergy. The law of synergy states that the sum of the whole is great. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. What does that mean? It means that when we are both working in an aligned way, we can achieve more. 1 plus 1 stops being 2. It becomes 4. There's a great scripture, Proverbs 18:22, that says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and receives favor from the Lord." It's that word favor. I think that's where that profit is coming from. That word means approval. It means goodwill, benevolence. It's just divine acceleration. And there's something powerful. We've seen this happen at Couples and Money when a couple finally, it just clicked. We're a team and these are each other's strengths. And all of a sudden we found that people were able to be a lot more profitable than they were before. People are making money they never dreamt they could make as a couple. What could have taken them 10 years is taking them months to achieve.
Yeah. Now, there's an interesting story. I just want to digress from that. There's some friends who we were talking with a couple of weeks or about a month ago, and they told us that in their family, they have a 700 million fund. 700 million fund.
Kenya shillings.
Kenya shillings. And they have pooled this as a family. Now they're able to lend each other at 6%. And they were even telling us, because of the high value that they have for education as a family, when their children complete university, their children bring their CVs to a family meeting, and for sure, there's a relative who can employ in their place of work. So if a child comes and says, I want to be a doctor, there's a doctor in that family, they can employ them. If someone says, I want to enter into banking, you know. Now, of course, this has been built generationally, but this is the power of a family working together. They are unbeatable. There is no poverty among them. It is just crazy. And I think we see this with other cultures, where families work together. They're really able to pool their resources and to move forward together.
So, and maybe that's I think that's such a good example, because I think it demonstrates well what profitability is.
Yeah.
I think it's something we've seen in our own marriage when we've understood each other's strengths and we've sort of been able to affirm the other's strength and to work together. We've been able to actually find that we're able to move a lot faster than when we did not understand that.
Yeah.
So maybe you can talk about the second one.
The second benefit? Okay, sure. So the second benefit is more help. Verse 10 says, if either of them falls down, one can help the other up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Now, the thing is that no one of us is perfect. Even the strongest of us falls. And we each have different strengths, and we cover each other's weaknesses. Now, I remember a certain couple who the way that they managed their money was that, he handled certain bills, she handled certain bills. When the man lost his job, she loaned him money. So she was living a certain lifestyle and her husband was living a different, poorer lifestyle. And that is what we are saying. Pity, when you're not working together, there is no help. Pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them. And so that's a big danger of not working together.
Yeah, so that's number 2. And we've seen that again as something very important. When you understand each other's strengths, you're able to actually complement one another. I'm going to move to the third one then, which is more comfort. So we've talked about the fact that the first is that there's more profit. When you work together, there actually is more profit. When you work together, there's more help. You're able to help each other and cover each other's weaknesses. And you're able to find that maybe one of you is good in saving, the other one is good in investing or in taking risks. And if you disregard that, you're going to actually find you end up falling off the edge, because you don't actually end up getting the maximum. You're not optimizing each other's strengths. And sometimes the problem is you get irritated by your partner's strengths, or not understanding that that's actually what God gave you that person, because they have a complementary strength to yours. And if all of you had the same strengths as you would actually be weak in other areas. So the third benefit of working together is more comfort. The Bible says, if two lie together, they'll keep warm, but how can one keep warm alone? And that's a language of companionship. Basically, what it's talking about, the fact is that when you get to the top, when you have all the money, what are you going to be doing with it? There are many people who get to the top and they find themselves alone, lonely, rich people. The thing about money is money can't buy friends. Money buys consumers. It buys funds. It buys people who want your money, and the problem is many people are so busy getting to the top that they actually destroy their relationship. It's too late. The years happen very quickly. You destroy the relationship with your wife or your husband, you destroy the relationship with your children. And by the time you open your eyes and now you're ready to interact with them, you've already blown it because you didn't understand why companionship is so important.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we have known of people, we have seen people who are going on holiday, very, very lonely. Fine, you might be going to an exotic place like Dubai or wherever it is. And you just notice, the family, they're together, yet they are not together. Why? Because they have blown those relationships in their quest for everyone looking for their own money.
Yeah.
So that whole thing of companionship is very important. The fourth benefit of working financial together is more protection. And the verse 12 says, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. And I think we've been married long enough, huh? We've been married for 30 years. And in marriage, you always have two perspectives. And God has allowed you to have those two perspectives to protect each other. So, for example, there's one of you who may be high in spending, but the other person is able to say, hey, let us think about the future. Let us cut back on our spending. Let us conserve the things that we are earning. For the person who's a hoarder, there's no joy. Sometimes you can just have joy of seeing a bank account. You're not, even when it comes to investments, for the hoarder, they might really fear investments. Their joy is just seeing a bank account. Now, we all know that when you put your money in the bank, you barely earn anything. You don't. In fact, for some of them, you just have charges that are eating your money. So, but when you learn to work together and say to the hoarder, hey, hoarder, perhaps we can put our money in an investment somewhere. And for the spender, we can say, hey, spender, perhaps we can cut back on our spending so that we can now save. So we protect each other in this way rather than fighting each other.
So we learn to be a team, and that's one of the things that we believe in at Couples and Money, is that we truly believe that you are meant to be a team. First and foremost, beyond anything else, you are created to be a team, and so we want you to discover that teamwork. To be able to move beyond the differences, to actually even start celebrating the differences, and to realize that God actually allowed them to help you protect each other. So we want to move to the last one. And the last one has to do with resilience. By the way, are we broadcasting this on YouTube? Is that on? I can see it says live over there, so I don't know.
Not.
Anyway, I guess admin is still working on whoever's struggling to get in.
I'm not sure.
But the fifth one has to do with more resilience. More resilience, yeah? And the Bible says a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. It's interesting because you've all had the proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. It's very efficient. But if you want to go far, go with others. Effectiveness is not in efficiency, it's in working with others. It might feel slower, but it'll eventually get you there where you're supposed to go. We go a lot farther when we work together. And I can just tell you this, I mean, having been married for 30 years, we've had the opportunity to experience many of the actually, when you participate in this course, we use a lot of our life lessons, mistakes we made through those years, lessons we learned. We were very fortunate that we were mentored by amazing couples who taught us a lot about money, much more than what many people in our generation would know. Because it's one thing to understand. You can even do an MBA and have a lot of theory about money, but it's another thing to have people who are there, who've created the wealth, who are able to mentor you at a young age. So we had the privilege of that, and we're able to actually share many of those things. And one of the things we know is that our best years are ahead of us. And we at one point began to feel we want to equip people, because we realize even godly couples, I mean, they have everything going for them, but this money thing stumbles them and destroys marriage, destroys their capacity to actually do what God called them to do. So our vision as a couple, and our vision as Couples and Money, let me even speak about Couples and Money, is to raise 1,000 kingdom dollar millionaires. What are those? Those are people who have become, they've understood their purpose. They're able to work well as a team, and in the process, they are able to understand what God has called them to do and have the resources to actually achieve it. Because one of the things we believe is real prosperity is having the resources to achieve your God-given assignment and help others who are doing the same. And that's what we believe that every one of us should be aspiring to as a couple. So that's our prayer for every one of you here. We prayed for every single person who's on this group. And that's what Couples and Money is about. Basically, when you do the course, you're going to find we're going to focus on different topics. We're going to talk about how your different family backgrounds cause you to approach money differently, and how you can actually take those differences and turn them from weaknesses into strengths. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing we talk about is why communicating about money is so difficult. In fact, we've had so many testimonies of people saying money was a waterworks affair, as in whenever we talked about money, tears rolled somewhere very freely. And it's just a dread. It's really just a dread to talk about money. And so, but we give you practical skills that actually enable you to overcome that barrier in communication.
Yeah, we also teach you how to have a joint purpose for your money, so that you have clarity on when the money comes, because we're also going to teach you how to make it. When the money comes, what are we going to do? Because money can destroy you if you don't have a purpose for it. And so we're going to teach you about how to do this, what goals you should be working on in every stage of your marital journey. And I say this one is the young couples, you're going to be so happy you're going to learn this early, but this is true for every one of us. I think wherever you are in the stage, you're going to find stuff that is extremely valuable and applicable for your life stage.
Yeah. We also talk about how to defeat debt. Debt is so crippling. We've had people who have all manner of debts getting debt free by the end of those 10 weeks, even before the end of those 2 weeks, just by applying the lessons they get out of debt. So that is definitely something, just a very practical tool.
And then we're also going to teach you how to invest. Once you start saving and you have surplus, what are you going to do with it to build this serious wealth and become that kingdom dollar millionaire? We're going to teach you how to do that, but also give you the tools. And you had the couple that was interviewing talking about financial advice services. We actually have mentors who are able to work with every couple, professional people who are able to work with every couple. And it's actually included in the course fees. So you will not have to pay extra when you graduate to actually get somebody who works with you as a couple, becomes a coach, and helps you plan what are the goals you're trying to achieve, what are the resources you have right now, and what do you need to do now to get to that place where you've multiplied your income streams and you can actually achieve your goals. Yeah. So that's what it's about. And like we said, we're passionate about this. We're excited about this. We have a dream to see every person who takes this course be completely transformed, to become an enabler and a blesser of many people, able to enable people's dreams as a couple, because you have what it takes. And we want to see wealth passed down generations for us as a people. Yeah.
Actually, I just wanted to add, like with the wealth advisors, I think we recently just had a couple saying, as we said, they're wealth advisors, it's for free, but it's only for people who have done Couples and Money. And this couple was like, okay, we do have our parents. We are now talking about their properties and, helping them think succession. Is this available for Couples and Money? And we are like, yes, as long as you have done the course, then taking your parents to wealth advisors to even help with succession, it's such a tricky thing. Even discussing.
Because we want to enable your family, we want to bless your family.
Yeah. Yes, it's a whole family thing. So yeah, so that's Couples and Money in a nutshell.
So over to you, FC. I hope this has been helpful, guys. If you have any questions, let us know. We'd love to answer them. But again, we are very excited to see every single one of you. And we're hoping that everyone who hasn't done this course today, you'll actually make a decision, do it. And we'd love to see anyone who hasn't done this course signing up to do it. So over to you, Bona MC.